You got to be willing to fight for your rights and fight for what you believe in. And if you're a person who believes in freedom of speech, you have to fight and say what you feel and let the chips fall where they may.
At 56, Ice Cube is one of the most well-known names in music, movies, and sports. But behind all the fame and money, his story is full of pain. From rising with NWA to going solo, from acting in hit movies to creating the Big Three basketball league, Cube has always pushed limits. Still, the personal cost of his bold choices, fights with censorship, public attacks, and the burden of speaking for the unheard have left deep marks that few people see. How did a man who seemed unstoppable go through so much personal tragedy at the peak of his power? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. The heartbreaking tragedy of Ice Cube. Ice Cube's life and career were shaped by several events that had a strong effect on him, starting with a serious tragedy when he was young. During his teenage years, his half-sister's life was taken in a double fatality incident carried out by her husband. This was a painful and shocking event for his family. Even though Ice Cube does not speak about it often in public, people who knew him at the time have said that the tragedy changed him in a deep way. It made him more serious, more aware of danger, and more focused on building a stable future. This early loss became one of the experiences that influenced the way he saw the world, and later showed up in the topics he chose to write about in music. Before he became famous, Ice Cube faced many early struggles connected to where he grew up and the type of environment he lived in. He was raised in South Central Los Angeles, a place that dealt with crime, gang problems, and limited chances for young people. Many families in the area faced financial pressure, and young men were often pulled toward unsafe situations. Ice Cube tried to avoid these dangers by focusing on writing. He discovered at a young age that he enjoyed turning his thoughts into lyrics. This skill gave him a sense of direction at a time when most people around him were struggling to find stability. He went to William Howard Taft High School, where he continued writing and worked on improving his talent. School was not easy, not because of his ability, but because of the stress and pressure around him. Still, he pushed forward and completed high school. After that, he decided to study architectural drafting at the Phoenix Institute of Technology. This decision showed that he was thinking ahead. He wanted a secure backup plan in case his music career did not succeed. Even with limited resources, he stayed focused on his goals and looked for ways to create a better future for himself. Later in his career, Ice Cube became part of a major controversy involving vaccine requirements. This controversy began in 2021 when he chose to walk away from a film project that required all cast members to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Reports stated that he turned down a large payment because he did not want to follow the mandate. His decision quickly drew strong reactions from the public. Some people supported him and praised him for standing by his personal beliefs. Others criticized him and said he was making the wrong choice during a health crisis. The situation created debate across social media, entertainment circles, and news platforms. This disagreement affected Ice Cube's career in real ways. Some film producers viewed the vaccine requirement as an important safety rule. Ice Cube, however, believed that individuals should decide these matters for themselves. Because of this difference in views, he lost certain opportunities and was temporarily separated from parts of Hollywood that disagreed with him. A long-running pattern in Ice Cube's life is the feeling of being overlooked or not fully recognized for his work. During his time with NWA, he wrote many of the group's most important lyrics, but his contributions were not always credited properly. When he left the group because of issues with his contract, public stories often left out how much he had written. Only years later did the music world fully acknowledge the scale of his work in shaping the group's sound and message. This sense of being overlooked continued in other parts of his career. In Hollywood, many people doubted whether he could act seriously or lead major film projects. Yet he proved them wrong with successful movies, and later by producing and writing his own films. In business, when he started the Big Three basketball league, some critics questioned whether he could manage a sports organization. Again, he had to prove his ability before receiving proper credit. Across all these stages, loss, education struggles, career disputes, and public controversies, Ice Cube continued to face situations where he had to work harder than others to be taken seriously. His life shows a pattern of meeting obstacles directly, refusing to step back, and building a long-lasting career even when the odds were against him. His journey demonstrates how early pain, limited support, public pressure, and slow recognition shaped the man he became. How does a boy who grew up in the chaos of South Central transform his pain into a voice that shakes the world and eventually becomes a symbol of both rebellion and responsibility? Stay tuned for more. Ice Cube, from South Central, struggles to hip-hop legacy. O'Shea Jackson, better known by his stage name Ice Cube, is known as one of the most important hip-hop artists. His life and work serve as examples of how an individual may manage and handle celebrity, family life, and public expectations while still holding and keeping integrity, as well as how personal suffering can be turned into artistic expression. Ice Cube used writing as a coping mechanism for his loss and frustration, but it also became a means of expressing his rage, anguish, and the injustices he has seen in the world. He found his voice and purpose through writing, which laid the groundwork for a career that would eventually affect millions of people. Ice Cube's early writing skills and abilities eventually led him to music, where he was able to show and express his community's experiences as well as his own. When he first joined the band CIA, he had the chance to learn how to change written words into rhythm and lyrics. Along with Dr. Dre and Eazy-E, he formed the popular hip-hop trio NWA as a result of this encounter. As the primary lyricist, Ice Cube focused on stories that shows and talks about racial injustice, poverty, and police brutality in South Central Los Angeles. The groundbreaking album Straight Outta Compton, which drew national recognition, was published by the NWA in 1988. The album caused controversy and criticism, but it also struck a deep chord with listeners who at last heard music that reflected their own experiences. Through the NWA, Ice Cube evolved from a performer to a representative of long-overlooked communities. In 1989, Ice Cube departed the NWA. He was able to pursue a solo career and have total control over his songs after his departure. AmeriKKK's Most Wanted, his first solo album, was released in 1990. The album sparked debate and criticism, but it also resonated deeply with fans who were finally able to hear music that represented their own experiences. Ice Cube transformed from a performer to a symbol of long-ignored communities through the NWA. Ice Cube left NWA in 1989. After his departure, he had complete rights over his music and could pursue a solo career. His debut solo album, AmeriKKK's Most Wanted, was released in 1990. As he tried to shield his family from the harsh scrutiny that comes with celebrity, his priorities changed. Once a vehicle for defiance and rage, music started to become more restrained. He kept writing and performing, but he did it cautiously, striking a balance between his creative expression and the need to give his loved ones security and stability. The difficulty of adjusting to increased personal duties while staying loyal to one's creative vision is reflected in this shift. Public expectations remained high in spite of these developments. The strong, hard persona that shaped Ice Cube's early work was always preferred by fans and the media. There was a conflict between the evolving artist and the fixed image that the public desired, as seen by some people's displeasure when his music grew less forceful. The experience of Ice Cube serves as an example of how challenging it is to remain true to oneself while reacting to outside demands. He became adept at striking this balance, exhibiting fortitude and consideration in both his personal and professional life. Ice Cube's story demonstrates how overcoming personal hardship may lead to influence and expression. He has continuously used music to convey experiences that might otherwise go ignored, starting from his early years in South Central Los Angeles and continuing through his work with the NWA, solo career, and transition to family life. At the same time, he has learned to reconcile public pressure with private responsibilities, protecting his family while continuing to create meaningful art. Could Ice Cube take the raw truths of life in South Central Los Angeles and turn them into comedy, showing a side of his neighborhood that no one had seen on screen before? Let's delve deeper. Behind the laughs, the untold story of Ice Cube and Friday. Ice Cube switched to comedy and made his first debut Friday. When Friday came out in 1995, people laughed, but most didn't know what had really happened behind the scenes. The movie was low budget, costing less than $3 million. and it was Ice Cube's first big attempt at making a comedy. Known for his serious music, Ice Cube shocked fans in Hollywood when he decided to make people laugh. Many doubted him. Friends, crew members, and executives warned him that a comedy about everyday life in South Central Los Angeles could hurt his reputation and career. Ice Cube's goal was simple. He wanted to show the real side of life in his neighborhood. Movies at that time, like Boys in the Hood, mostly focused on crime and danger. Ice Cube knew that life was harder than that, but it also had humor, friendship, and family moments. He wanted a story that felt real. He teamed up with DJ Pooh, another person who grew up in South Central, and together they wrote a script about one day in the neighborhood. The events and characters were drawn from real life. Craig losing his job after being accused of stealing, Smokey's love for weed, and tough figures like Debo and Craig's father came from people they knew personally. Even though the story was authentic, making the movie was not easy. Big studios weren't interested in small neighborhood comedies. Ice Cube and DJ Pooh took inspiration from independent filmmakers like Robert Townsend, who made Hollywood Shuffle, and Kevin Smith, who made Clerks on a tiny budget. Eventually, New Line Cinema read the script and agreed to fund it, but they set a condition. DJ Pooh could not play Smokey because the studio thought he didn't have enough acting experience. He took a smaller part as Red, and Cube had to find someone new for Smokey. That someone was Chris Tucker. Ice Cube had seen Tucker on Def Comedy Jam and thought he was perfect. Tucker's fast-talking, high-energy style brought the character to life. His first audition, however, was rough. He looked tired, his jokes did not land, and the team worried they had made a mistake. Director F. Gary Gray and actress Angela Means helped Tucker prepare. With their support, Tucker returned for a second audition and nailed it. His performance was full of life and humor, and his chemistry with Ice Cube became one of the movie's strongest points. Filming itself was a challenge. They had only 20 days to finish, and mistakes cost money they didn't have. Ice Cube stayed sober on set to make sure the production ran smoothly. After the success of the first movie, tensions began to grow. Some wanted sequels to be bigger and more flashy, while others wanted to keep the original tone. Another source of tension was credit. Ice Cube had created, written, and produced Friday. But many fans focused on Tucker's performance as Smokey. While Tucker's humor turned scenes into gold, Cube felt his work behind the scenes was being overlooked. The attention started to create distance between the two. Both had reasons to feel proud. Cube for his vision and dedication, Tucker for bringing the character to life. The situation highlighted the difficulty of balancing creative control with collaborative work. Despite these challenges, Friday became a cultural classic. It showed that stories from South Central could be funny, relatable, and meaningful. After exploring Ice Cube's groundbreaking work in Boys in the Hood, one has to ask, how did his personal and professional conflicts shape the music that would follow? And what impact did they leave on hip-hop culture? Let's find out. No Vaseline, the diss track that shook hip-hop history. Ice Cube released No Vaseline on October 29, 1991. The track was a direct attack on his former group NWA and their manager Jerry Heller. It was sharp, angry, and openly personal. Ice Cube used the song to express how deeply he felt betrayed, especially after leaving the group because he believed he was being treated unfairly. He also used it to show how much he believed the group had fallen apart after he left. Before the breakup, Ice Cube had been one of the most important members of NWA. He helped shape their sound, wrote many of their major lyrics, and played a big role in their rise. Even so, he felt he was not paid fairly. The group had sold millions of records, but Cube said he earned very little from that success, while Jerry Heller enjoyed a comfortable lifestyle. These money issues led Cube to leave the group in 1989, which created long-lasting tension. After leaving, Cube built his solo career and released America's Most Wanted, which was a success. But the anger between him and NWA grew stronger. The group released songs that insulted him, calling him disloyal and questioning his talent. This pushed Cube to respond with No Vaseline, a track meant to end the feud on his terms. The song was built around a strong, steady beat that matched the harsh tone of Cube's words. In it, he accused NWA of losing their edge and letting themselves be controlled by Heller. He said they were no longer real or independent, and that they had become softer and more commercial. Cube made it clear he believed he had made the right choice by leaving. Cube aimed most of his anger at Heller and Eazy-E. He claimed Heller was using the group for money and that Eazy-E allowed it. Cube also insulted Dr. Dre, MC Ren, and DJ Yella, questioning their decisions and loyalty. Some of Cube's language toward Heller was controversial and drew public criticism, which Cube later addressed, saying the conflict was personal, not hateful toward any group of people. The track helped end the group completely, and no strong response ever came from NWA. Years later, Cube made peace with some of the members, including Eazy-E, before his death. Today, No Vaseline is remembered as one of the most powerful diss tracks in hip-hop history because of its direct message, bold tone, and major impact. If Ice Cube's music career was defined by controversy and bold moves, how did he carry that fearless approach into television and professional sports, challenging both social norms and established industries? Let's learn more. Ice Cube. Controversy, censorship, and work beyond music. Ice Cube has been one of the most outspoken figures in music and entertainment, and throughout his career, he has faced controversy and censorship. His 1991 solo album, Death Certificate, caused a lot of debate. The album, which reached number 3 on Billboard's chart, was criticized by some for including lyrics that allegedly encouraged violence against different groups, including Korean Americans, Jewish Americans, and white Americans. Ice Cube responded by saying that while critics had the right to their opinions, warnings in publications like Billboard amounted to censorship. Many fans in the hip-hop community supported him, seeing his work as an honest reflection of life in marginalized communities. That same year, Ice Cube released the song Black Korea, which angered many Korean American store owners. In the song, he warned Asian American merchants not to harass black customers in urban neighborhoods. Around 3,000 stores protested by boycotting products connected to Cube, including the St. Ides malt liquor that he promoted. When Mackenzie River Corp agreed to halt Cube's marketing and donate a portion of the sales to initiatives benefiting black students and multiracial scholarships, the boycott came to an end. This instance demonstrated the intersections of commerce, racism, and social tension, as well as the potential impact of Cube's music on public opinion and interpersonal relationships. In 2006, Cube collaborated with R.J. Cutler to create the reality series Black White. Through a social experiment in which a black and a white family applied cosmetics to resemble the other race, the episode examined race. Increasing empathy and understanding was the aim, although opinions varied. While some critics said the play reinforced racial stereotypes and produced false conflict, others complimented it for being intelligent and challenging. Cube's passion in tackling societal concerns outside of music was evident in his work as a producer and creator. Along with music and television, Ice Cube co-founded the Big Three Basketball League, which allowed former NBA players like Chauncey Billups and Allen Iverson to play professionally. Despite the pandemic, the league has managed to secure TV contracts. According to Cube, the NBA used anti-competitive tactics, including pushing networks and businesses to try to stop the Big Three. The league kept expanding in spite of these obstacles. Overall, Ice Cube's career shows a consistent pattern of challenging authority, facing censorship, and innovating across multiple industries. Whether through controversial music, social experiments on TV, or professional sports leagues, Cube has repeatedly pushed boundaries while staying true to his voice and vision, often in the face of public criticism and institutional obstacles. What do you think about the tragedies of Ice Cube? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.